Thank you so much for accepting my invitation. You are a multi-award winning leader, a keynote and TED speaker, a Forbes writer, an author dedicated to amplifying and extending the success of other high-caliber business leaders and many more. But who is Linda in your own words? And what are your passions? Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
My career has been a series of lessons learned and opportunities to grow and develop as a person and as a professional. Because hiring managers took a chance on me, and my supervisors were able to show an abundance of grace, I was able to forge a career as an entrepreneurial and forward thinking marketing executive on the cutting edge of brand marketing. I received impactful advice and guidance along the way from supervisors and mentors that helped to shape and mold me, allowing me to accelerate my self awareness as well as my growth. And of course, some of my most spectacular mistakes and failures were also some of my most important lessons. When my supervisors, peers, and mentors offered me a stunning level of grace and forgiveness. And along the way, I learned the transformative power of bringing inspiring leaders together to create opportunity, to discover possibility, and to solve problems. It's my belief that no one grows as a leader alone. You need a supportive, confidential, uplifting community of people that are dedicated to helping you along the way. And in LeadHERship Global, I now have the privilege and the honor of supporting and guiding ambitious, creative women to move in the direction of their purpose, their mission, and their dreams with powerful connections, with critical support, with practical tools and valuable resources. I help women all over the world show up, speak up, and step up into their careers and personal lives. And along the way, I get to share my lessons of grit and grace. I have the honor of enhancing the leadership blueprint of unstoppable women all around the world and helping them embrace their power to be the very best versions of themselves in work and in life. And I have the distinct privilege of serving women in this world-class, confidential, and supportive community to accelerate their own definition of success, integrating self-directed learning, impactful group experiences, peer advisory services, and expert-led coaching and mentoring. And like all the women of LeadHERship Global, I am a lifelong learner, and I am dedicated to supporting inspiring leaders all around the world create sustainable impact.
You also have a PhD and an MA in clinical psychology, and you have written extensively about social media comparison, depression, and anxiety. According to you, what role does social media comparison plays in depression and anxiety? Is there a link?
I think it's normal to wonder how we measure up to other people. According to social comparison theory, this drive to understand how we compare to others is part of our basic desire to understand ourselves as well as our place in the social world. But dwelling too much on these judgments does have a cost. Comparative behavior happens when you compare yourself to other people, whether they're in a superior or inferior position to you. Usually, you compare positive and negative characteristics with your own. And sometimes social comparison can be really helpful. But negative comparative behaviors can actually damage your own self-esteem too. So research suggests that we're more likely to make downward comparisons when our self-esteem is threatened. So for example, if we've just received some sort of negative feedback, or we feel as though we're not as competent in a particular skill, like say tennis or maybe backgammon. And because these comparisons give us a boost, if we compare our skill set to someone that is less experienced, we can enhance our own perceived standing. And that can reassure us that we're not so bad and things could be worse. But there is an interesting quote by Theodore Roosevelt that says, comparison is the thief of joy. And there's some truth in that. Upward comparison can be a little bit of a double-edged sword. On one hand, it can provide inspiration and hope when we compare ourselves to others that are better than we are in a skill or in a talent or an area of competence. And that can actually motivate us to improve our own situation. It can provide helpful and useful information about how we can overcome an obstacle. It can also give us a self-esteem boost, like when we bask in reflected glory of a successful close friend or family member, and we're cheering them on, and we're really grateful to be part of their close inner circle. But if we're comparing ourselves to others who have vastly greater experience, expertise, learning, knowledge, then it can also be very difficult and truly be a thief of your joy. So what I suggest is that we be very careful about the kind of comparisons that we're making and that we create context for that comparison. I'm not as good as Sally is at math, but she's 2 years ahead of me in school, or she has math as her major, or she has a very natural gift for math. Doesn't mean I can't improve, doesn't mean I can't get better, but it's important anytime we compare ourselves to other people to understand the context of that comparison.
How important is compassion in the world, and how can compassion be developed and activated?
Well, for me, compassion is a freely given favor. It's a kind of mercy, a sense of generosity and kindness. To me, this idea of compassion is actually moral strength. It's a favor, even when it's not deserved. It's understanding and forgiveness born out of self discovery and self acceptance. It's an undeserved, unmerited, unearned embrace of acceptance. And to me, compassion always turns heads. It always opens minds, it softens hearts, and it leaves people in awe. True compassion recognizes that lessons are often learned through experiencing the result of failure, the result of a bad decision or a mistake, and learning from it. Compassion does not remove the consequences or attempt to protect you from your bad decisions, but rather it allows for the recognition of the mistake and the forgiveness of the failure and the resilience of incorporating the learning into our forward progress. Compassion is embodied. It is an attitude, it's a characteristics, it's a belief. And as such, it can have almost a contagious effect on others, including the people you work with at your company. But compassion starts with you. It starts by clearly understanding your life story, including your consistent themes, and then making the conscious decision to push towards excellence, leaving room for failure. But you know your value because failure does not define you. In fact, failures can be the very building blocks that help you become even stronger, even more valuable. And through compassion, you can begin thinking positively of yourself, even though you will inevitably fall short of your own expectations. But when that occurs, you can make amends to those you hurt and at the same time forgive yourself because you know you can and will do better if you allow yourself to. So compassion gives you the ability to push other people towards success while also allowing them to make mistakes along the way as well. After all, people allowed us to learn some of our greatest lessons through failure, and they showed us great compassion. And now we have the honor of showing compassion to others when they fail and when they make a mistake.
If one looks at your career, it is absolutely outstanding. You are the CEO and the founder of LeadHERship Global, a community of extraordinary women in the world, in a confidential, supportive, and private community. Tell me a little bit more about your role in this wonderful community.
Well, my role in LeadHERship Global is to help members accelerate their success by defining their vision, growing their leadership, expanding their influence, and leaving a truly lasting legacy. And we do that by harnessing the knowledge, the influence, and the trust of extraordinary, high performing women all over the world to help stimulate idea exchange, to support creativity, to provide resources and tools, and to accelerate personal and professional growth. In LeadHERship Global, I help women come together and meet inspirational leaders, create lifelong friendships, and be surrounded by people that are truly invested in their success. I have found that members of LeadHERship Global are inspired and motivated by the other women leaders who cheer them on, who counsel them and support them to greater and greater levels of success and impact. So my purpose at LeadHERship Global is to simply create and support personal and professional breakthroughs and to help guide women to achieving greater levels of success and freedom in their careers, in their businesses, and in their lives.
Do you think women leadership is the future? How significant is the part that we play as women in the world?
In my estimation, empathy wins in a crisis. Women leaders tend to slightly outperform men in most leadership skills, but particularly in empathy. Now, that's often referred to as emotional intelligence, kind of softer skills that refer to kind of any ability pertaining to the way you approach others or the way you handle your professional life. And I got to tell you, women tend to excel. Women have been proven to hold a key advantage in soft skills. And a study by the global consulting firm Hay Group found that women outperform men in 11 out of 12 key emotional intelligence competencies. But the difference in leadership between the genders begins to grow larger during any sort of crisis. Female leaders express more awareness of fears. They have a greater level of concern for the well-being of their team members, and they actually have greater confidence in their plans. Included in these essential leadership capabilities that are common to most women are things like the ability to network, the ability to collaborate effectively, communication, both oral and written, and critical thinking. And women have unique leadership capabilities that position them well to thrive in a rapidly evolving global workplace. But empathy, humility, and self-knowledge are absolutely key to excelling in leadership, whether you're a man or a woman. And believe it or not, women overperform in a crisis because of these three traits: empathy, humility, and self-knowledge.
What are the secrets to creating a safe, secure, and smart tomorrow?
Our world of tomorrow absolutely depends on whether the leaders of today and all who stand with them recognize the urgency and the peril of inaction. Leaders and decision makers, whether they're in the South Sudan or the South Side of Chicago, need to demand physical and psychological safety and equal access to basic human rights: nutrition, the ability to control their bodies, to choose a mate, and to access healthcare, education, jobs, housing for all girls and all women everywhere. It's up to all of us who stand on the shoulders of so many to push forward and hold open the doors of opportunity for every girl, for every woman. We want to ensure that every girl and every woman has the possibility of leading life to her fullest potential. And I believe that we are at a critical juncture in human history, which could lead to widely contrasting futures. But I'm also convinced that the future is not set in stone. It's flexible, it's bendable, it's adaptable, and it's dependent on actions right here, right now. So, by recognizing and protecting the physical and psychological safety of girls and women around the world and giving them access to basic human rights, half of the world's population, millions of people, could be lifted out of poverty. And this new wealth could empower millions of families, adding significantly to local and national economies. The global economy could nearly double by 2030 to $132 trillion in today's currency. Innovations could dramatically improve physical and mental health. New discoveries and inventions could continue to improve and impact lives. And it all starts by moving women up the ladder of, imagine that, simply giving women access to physical and psychological safety, moving them up the ladder of economics could literally improve and impact human lives around the world.
What advice would you give to young people out there who'd like to make a difference in the world, no matter how big this difference is?
I think I would say that you and only you can make new things happen in your life. If you wait for serendipity to provide you with good fortune or with increased confidence, you're going to be waiting a very long time. And that is absolutely unacceptable. If you're waiting for a sense of confidence, a sense of self-worth, a sense of direction, realize that the path towards self-confidence is not one that you can travel with someone else. It's a path that you have to travel alone. No one else can do it for you. But I have to tell you, it's a worthwhile path because self-confidence is linked to almost every element involved in a happy and fulfilling life. Confidence gives you the skills and the coping methods to handle setbacks and failure. Self-confidence doesn't mean you won't sometimes fail, but you'll know that you can handle challenges. You're not going to be crippled by them. Even when things don't turn out anywhere close to what you planned, you'll be able to avoid beating yourself up. But remember, you and only you can make new things happen in your life. Don't wait for serendipity. Don't wait for good fortune. Don't wait for some sort of magical increased confidence. Instead, take the steps to cultivate that sense of confidence, that sense of self-worth that will launch you powerfully, purposefully, with intention and purpose into those dreams that you have for your life.
Can you tell me a leadership quote that has influenced you in your life and career?
No one can go back and start a new beginning, but anyone can start today and make a new ending. That's by Maria Robinson. And I will say that that gives me inspiration because it doesn't matter how humble our beginnings are. It doesn't matter how we stumble along the way. Anyone can start today and create a brand new ending. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda, for the interview. It's amazing having you here, and we wish you all the best of the luck for the new future projects. Let's inspire, empower, and connect.